What up, friends? I'm definitely an introvert, and today we'll be reviewing Little Simz' newest record, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert. Little Simz, also known as Simbi, is a UK rapper and singer who released the excellent Grey Area back in 2019. She has a knack on delving deep into her psyche, reflecting on personal topics, along with having a combination of intense and elegant rapping styles. After her focused and concise last album, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert is grand and lavish. Most of these tracks are just fantastic. However, the album does have some bloating and pacing issues compared to her previous work. Now, Introvert. What an opener. Like, this is a fucking battle cry of a track if I've ever heard one. Those grand horns have a powerful aesthetic to them. However, I like how the main verses, from an instrumental standpoint, are actually kind of low-key. That contrast is just fantastic, and it has a groove to it too, sort of showing how a hidden potential needs to rise up as the strings swell. The instrumental duality also represents the lyrical duality as well, as Simbi wants to be introverted and keep to herself, but also wants to be outspoken in who she is and comment on social issues like corrupt governments and racial injustice. Now we take it a bit more chill with Woman, a sort of self-empowerment anthem that also wants to help boost up other women. Simbi's flows are super smooth, and I love the warmth that's just emanating from that drum kit. Elegant organs, keys, and bass also just match this energy perfectly. Cleosol's chorus is just masterful, and we'll be seeing more of her throughout the rest of this record too. The constant background sample along with those guitars give this song a very lush and full sound. It's awesome, especially the woman-to-woman support that's expressed in the lyrics. With Two Worlds Apart, that guitar is such a highlight on this one, man. Simbi's flows have that endearing, laid-back vibe that meshes perfectly with the instrumental. That Smokey Robinson sample sets the mood excellently, giving the track a sort of nostalgic aesthetic to it, especially as Simbi is sort of trying to be patient that everything will work out in her life. This is a reflective mix of melancholy and smooth summer anthem, and I think that's really cool. On I Love You, I Hate You, that vocal sample makes for a pretty compelling backdrop as Simbi delivers a pretty passionate tale about her rocky relationship with her dad. These verses feel very human, even more so compared to a lot of the other tracks on this record, which already felt very down-to-earth and human. Some punchy bass and guitar riffs add some intensity to her flows, despite that very spacey synth that's going on. This is true for the background vocals as well, especially when she delves deep into how her dad has failed her. And I feel like the line that most poignantly sums up all of her points on this track is the "never thought my parent would give me my first heartbreak." Those strings emphasize how Simbi is trying to take the high road and just move on, but it seriously affected her. Little Q Part 2 is a heartbreaker of a track, and I feel like that children's choir of a sample really emphasizes the narrative point on this one. The old school aesthetic in the beat and keys really hone in on Simbi's verses, coming from her cousin's perspective as he got caught up in gang life at a pretty young age. It's a tragic tale of the system failing its people and how they turn to a more dangerous lifestyle just to survive and feel connected to the people around them. I really love that bridge and the guitar in the outro too. Speed kind of has a gray area sound to it. I don't mind that because I do love that album, however it noticeably feels out of place here. The grungier beat has a cool cadence to it, however compared to the tracks of Grey Area, this one noticeably feels more reserved and repetitive. I do like the continuation of the trend of these songs being more like self-empowerment anthems, but maybe it would have been better on a different album. There's some very orchestral sounding instrumentation on Standing Ovation with very dramatic horns and strings. The chorus, however, is a bit weaker, and I don't really like how it slows its tempo a bit, and I find the sort of blessed vocal line kind of annoying and unfitting. The verses are good, though, and the lyrical topics of acknowledging your success while also trying to stick up for the average everyman and 9-to-5er, like, that's pretty cool. I See You is by far my favorite track on here. This shit is beautiful. It's such a simple beat, but it's so authentic and introspective. This is an introvert's anthem, that's for sure. I love the slide in the guitar and those echoing effects, and Simby's smooth and calm flows just glide over this beat so cleanly. Cleo Sol makes a return, adding even more elegance to the track in her chorus. Those lyrics too, like, looking at you, I know that God took his time. That's fucking poetry, bro. Great track. I have a similar opinion of Rolling Stone that I had with Speed. It's just so unfitting for the record, with its simple and dark electro-inspired beats. There's some cool flows on it, and the beat switch is pretty fun. However, it just doesn't have the energy that I would want for a track like this, and it has no cohesion with the rest of the project. The second half's beat and flows are also much less interesting compared to the first half's. Protect My Energy is also kind of unfitting, going for a more funk and pop sound. However, it does at least match the record's more lush aesthetic. I love that bouncy and punchy bass along with those billowing synths. It's interesting to hear her more sing than rap. However, I do think it does provide a nice change of pace, and it kind of sounds like something that maybe Tyler, the creator, would do on some of his newer projects. The lyrics are simple but stick to the introvert theme, and they do also fit the more to-the-point nature of the song as a whole. Point and Kill has such a vibe to it. Abongjoyer's vocals fit the sort of Afrobeat aesthetic, and Simby's flows are just really fun on this one. It's a party track in a way, but more of a do what you want and enjoy life angle to kind of overcome tragedy. I love the bounce in those drums, and that horn segment near the end was also a really nice touch. Fear No Man largely continues the vibes from the previous song, although in an even more upbeat way. The emphasis on the drums and the background vocals, especially on the chorus, give this track such an upbeat nature that isn't really matched by any other track on the album. It's sort of traditional in its instrumentation, but it's like it was filtered through a modern lens in a way, making for an interesting combination of sounds. The flows are fun, and she's just unapologetically being herself, which is great. Now, How Did You Get Here? What a track, man. That intro is haunting, and those piano chords, like, what a great and deep leg for this track to stand on. Simby's flows have a sort of stream of consciousness style to them, and I really love her storytelling on this track. That moment when the beat kicks in is just such a profound moment, and I love the sort of jazz rap influences that it has. It's all about her journey through life and as a rapper, and I really like when she talks about how she used to listen to and study a lot of new and old hip-hop albums to really pursue her career and push it forward. I wish it ended the album because this track is perfect closer material. Now with Misunderstood, it's not a bad track, however, it feels kind of underwhelming to end with this one as opposed to How Did You Get Here? It's low-key in its simple beats and piano, but not in an album-ending way like the previous song. It also doesn't really change its instrumental all that much, making it feel a bit stagnant by the end. The lyrics and flows are still good, largely talking about things similar to that of How Did You Get Here? However, that kind of makes the comparison even more obvious, and it also makes it more obvious how redundant this track is when we already had How Did You Get Here? I also didn't really talk about the interludes of the album, but that's mostly because I find them to be kind of bloating the project and just unnecessary. They're not necessarily bad, however, I feel like they didn't really add much to the narrative of the record, and sometimes they can come off as kind of corny. I think that removing them would have made for a much more focused and tighter experience. However, this is just a fantastic album. The messages, the wordplay, the flow, the beats, it's all there. I also love how raw and open she gets while also experimenting with different beats that, for the most part, remain consistent in terms of sound. That said, some tracks did sound out of place, especially the ones with the grungier beats, and the interludes just didn't add anything to the album that the main tracks didn't already provide. The track order was also kind of iffy, especially ending with Misunderstood. I think if she took out the interludes and removed some of the good but not great tracks, she would have had a masterpiece on her hands. That being said though, I'm giving Sometimes I Might Be Introvert a light 9. Of course, we do have to talk about album covers on this show, and this might be one of the best album covers of the year. Like, her pose, her outfit, the color combination of the oranges, the yellows, the blacks, the browns, like, oh my god, this is such a great album cover. I love the whole aesthetic, I love the separation of the image, and then the top with all of the text. Like, this is such a good album cover, it's awesome. Of course, that was just my opinion on this new Little Simz record. What did you guys think? Did you really like it? Is this a perfect 10? Did this beat out all of her previous projects? Or did you also feel it was a little bloated and less focused? Let me know. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell because I'm an introvert and I can't make you. And until the next one, farewell.